Hi, I welcome you back to this video lectures, and in this video lecture we're going to start with dimensions. That is, we're going to know how the dimension tools, just like we have them right here, works. So right here we'll have parallel dimension, we'll have horizontal and vertical dimension, we have angular dimension, segment dimension, and then tool leg callout. Okay, so we're going to pick each and every one of them one after the other and see what they do. Now this dimension is just like telling us how long a particular area we marked is. So these ones are used by engineers and architects when trying to make something, maybe trying to register the size of a land or a value depending on what they want to create. Okay, so right here we can just click on parallel, and we know what parallel means, just drawing a line parallel. Okay, can as well make a straight line with it. Okay, so right here whenever we are making this line, we see that there is a number right on top increasing and at the same time decreasing when we reduce. So this is the dimension we are talking about. It's trying to show us the size, that is the length of the line we're drawing. The more we draw, the more it increases. So let's just leave it to 5.00. okay, and drop. Okay, you can just click to drop. So right here we'll see that everything changes. Okay, now we'll have an arrowhead right here and right here, then we'll have the dimension, that is the value, right here. Okay, now all these things are very simple to do. So what if we want to change other things on this dimension? Okay, so coming right here is how you want this value right here to appear. Do you want it to appear in decimal, which is 0.00, just like we have here? Do you want it to appear in fraction, which will have 5 entirely because there is no fraction behind it? Or do you want it to appear in US engineering, which will have 0 minus 5 and then 0.00? Engineers will do better with this. Okay, we also have US architectural. Oh sorry, we'll have to make sure we select this before we can change. So we can go to US architecture and you see it changes to 0 and then minus 5. Okay, so that's not everything we can do here. So right here we'll have apostrophe right on top of this place and this number, and if we don't want this, we can actually come and uncheck this. It will go entirely, and this is what we have, and we can just have only this checked. If we don't want the 0 to keep appearing, we can as well have this unchecked. Okay, but we'll have to keep one of them checked so we'll understand better how everything goes. Now this has to do with adding an alphabet either before this number or after this number. Maybe you have explanation to do, you can just add a prefix or you can just add a suffix. Okay, we can just say length right in front. Okay, right in front, and when we're done, you see that this length appears here. So we'll have length 0 minus 5. The same way we can add this length right behind. So depending on what we want, we can just check the suffix and maybe type L there so we can see that it does the same thing. So sorry, our object is not selected, so we must select an object before adding anything, and just click on L and we have L right behind this place. So here is where you can change your hairline. You can change it to either dotted or any kind of line you want, and you can just change the size, that is the thickness, to maybe, so your object is still not selected again. Okay, we can change it to either 4.00 or maybe any one of our choice. Now let's draw back and say here is our arrowhead. So what if we don't want this particular arrow right here, we want a different one altogether? This is where you can make the changes. Okay, this one is the arrowhead that looks like a hand. You see it's changed to the hand arrow. You can change to this writing, it changes to writing arrow. It can change to this one, any one at all. Whichever one you click, it's going to change automatically to that kind of arrow. So let's keep it back to our default, or maybe we can just leave it to this one right here, okay, which looks good depending on the work we're creating with these dimensions. Okay, we'll have to bear that in mind. So here is a position where we want our number, that is the size, to appear. That is the write-up we'll have right here. You can just come right here, text above dimension line. Okay, it's going to go above. We can as well select text row, which is the one we'll have as default. We can select text below. Okay, we can select center text between extension line. Okay, so depending on what we want, but I think I prefer text row dimension line. Okay, so that is it about parallel dimension. So the same way you can create other dimensions, and then we can make the setting, because I believe all of them bears the same setting. So you can create horizontal dimension with this, just horizontally. You can as well create vertical dimension, just vertically, each of them having the number. And then we can come right here. Remember, everything we can change is still the same thing here, so there is no difference and there is nothing strange about it. Now this angle helps us to detect an angle, so you can draw to the angle of your choice, and then you drag to see which angle you actually have. The more you go inside, the more the angle increases, and the more you come outside, the more the angle decreases, depending on how you want your angle to appear and the size of your angle. Okay, so once you get what you want, you can just click to drop. Now remember, this still has an arrow, okay, which is a default arrow right here. You can change it to anything of your choice, but I believe every angle goes with this arrowhead, so it's better we'll leave it the way it is. Okay, so let's go on and see what we have on other dimensions. Now segment dimension. Now this segment dimension is just like the dimension of a particular segment which is not active right here. Okay, so we're still going to get back to that. Now let's go to this two-leg callout. Now this two-leg callout helps you to create a dimension, that an arrow that has two legs. It's just like trying to point on a particular something, and then you give it a name. Okay, so you can just draw from the point you want to point. Okay, we've dropped this. Let's make another one. You can draw from the point you want to point, and then you can change the leg to where you need it. Let's just say we want to make a different, maybe we can say square. Okay, don't be confused. I'm going to tell you what I mean by this square. Then I can just get a rectangular shape right here and create a square right in front of it. Okay, this particular dimension is trying to point at the square, telling me that this shape is a square and here is the name. So it's very simple and easy. Okay, and none of them I believe is difficult, so you can just try them out, and then you create dimensions of your own, making sure you use each and every one of them to understand perfectly how all of them works. Okay, so this helps you in so many ways, like when you're trying to edit a mathematics question which has to do with angles, dimensions, and every other thing. You can just come right here on your CorelDRAW, create the dimension shape, and export it to your office, and from there you get it very easy. All right, so I believe with this we are good to go with creating dimensions. So let's go on and practice more and more, and if we encounter any problem, we can just use the question and answer section. Thank you, and see you in my next video lecture.